As I say on my blog, someone has to say it, so it's going to be me. Look, here's my first attempt at a face-to-face chalk talk minus the chalk. So yesterday, I posted a blog before Jon Stewart interviewed Michelle Rhee. I was critical of the idea of him even having her on the show. Then I watched the show. And I'm sorry, but in my opinion, he blew it for the millions of teachers that have been disparaged by Michelle Rhee and her phony campaign to put students first. So I updated the earlier blog post and I criticized Jon for not skewering her. However, according to a few emails and comments and tweets, some people think I expected too much of Jon and that, at least he asked her some good questions. And, I should be careful not to alienate allies. Look, here's the deal, okay? I grew up in a lower middle-class steel town outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I attended a state college on loans to become an elementary school teacher. I taught second and fifth grade. I went back to graduate school to get a master's degree in education on loans. And after teaching 5 years, I decided to go into more debt and get a PhD in education because I wanted to work with future teachers. During my PhD years, I taught 7th and 8th graders in a city school district, and when I finished my PhD, I took my first job as a teacher educator at a university. I have been a teacher educator for the last 14 years, and I have been in the profession of education for over 20 years. I'm also a husband and a father of 2 children. I have a son who's in 7th grade and a daughter in 4th grade. But at this point in my life, I am just one of a few thousand nobodies fighting education reform. I write for a blog, I co-host an internet radio show, and I am a founding member of United Opt-Out. All of these activities are done in the hopes that one day our public schools, our teachers, our kids, all get released from the 10 years of hell they have had to endure. I have no funding, and I have no access to mainstream media. I am a big nobody when it comes to people like Jon Stewart and Michelle Rhee. However, I am committed to stopping this insane train called education reform, and I am willing to do what needs to be done. My kids have already been damaged by this system, and their teachers are demoralized. So when Jon Stewart, yes, a comedian, but who has in the past been sympathetic to the plight of teachers, interviews one of the main architects responsible for ruining the lives of countless teachers and harming the educational opportunities of poor and minority children, I don't think I'm off base when I say he blew it. Look, Michelle Rhee has gobs of money and direct access to our political leaders. So, did I want him to ask her hard questions? Did I want him to challenge her when she threw out crap research? Yes. What's the problem? Didn't you? Look, if this little nobody from Pennsylvania with a blog and an internet radio show offended Jon Stewart, then so what? He should be offended. Teachers have lost their jobs because of this woman. Children have been given tests instead of an education. This is not a radical. This is someone who's downright evil. So yes, I expected more from Jon, and so should all of you fighting this battle against Michelle Rhee and all the other phony reformers that are hell-bent on privatizing our public schools and turning teaching into a low-wage profession. Look, I know people engaged in this struggle that have actually put students first and had the courage to speak out and take action against ed reform. And not one of them was offered a cushy interview on any of the networks. Their reward? Being fired. And also, at this moment, there are teachers in Seattle, students in Portland, principals in New York, and parents all across this country that are putting everything they have on the line in order to save our schools and stop people like Michelle Rhee from getting famous by hurting children and teachers. I'm sorry if I'm a little ticked off that Jon first even allowed her on his show, but then refused to skewer her for the damages she has caused. But I have every right to my sense of betrayal. Remember, I'm just a simple nobody, trying like hell to preserve childhood, save the profession of teaching, and start a real reform movement that truly sees education as the civil rights issue of our time. Is Jon mad at me? And did I alienate an ally? I don't think a middle-aged husband and father with student loan debt who writes for a blog and co-hosts an internet radio show and promotes opt-out is even on John's radar. I'm a nobody, a real radical. I actually care about children, teachers, and schools, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to end corporate education reform. Peace.